Today's episode of the Outline Podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering the listeners of this show one free audiobook and a 30-day free trial. You can redeem this by clicking the link in the show notes or visiting www.audibletrial.com/outlinepod. Let's start the show.
The Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. The Outline. With Kevin Dwayne. The Outline. With Kevin Dwayne. This is the Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne, with Kevin Dwayne.
Hey guys, what's up? This is the Outline Podcast, and I'm your host, Kevin Dwayne. This is your weekly discussion of all things entertainment, LGBT culture, and a piece of encouragement for everyone. Hope you guys are having an amazing week so far. It is the holiday season. And with that being said, I have a special guest on the show today. I have film writer, director, producer, actor, and creator of the YouTube Black Sex in the City, and the creator of Philaye Films. Man, crazy bio, but it's Philip Johnson. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. And hey, all Outline listeners.
Yes, thank you for being on the show. I really enjoy Black Sex in the City, man. It's really, really funny.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
I do. I feel like it's weird. I think you just kind of popped up out of nowhere, and I started seeing you on my timeline, and I was just like, you know what? Let me check this out. One thing that caught my eye is you definitely have a way of advertising that really is just dope to me. It's like this hue of blue that I only see on your page. That's on purpose, right? Please tell me it's on purpose.
It is on purpose, and I was trying to do some branding a lot of months ago and get my page together. And it was definitely a whole process figuring out how I wanted to market, since that's truthfully not my favorite part of doing the show. So I'm glad you like it.
It's eye-catching. I was like, what is this blue? And it's so cool. Like every picture you post, it's kind of beachy in a way. And it's just like super cool. And I'm like, this is dope. It's every photo. And it's just I'm always impressed, no matter what colors you're wearing or whatever. You have this, and I'm like, this is really, really dope. And I've seen it nowhere else. So it's good branding. It's great branding.
I'm glad that you like it. I'm honestly so used to it that I barely even see it now. Like the pictures just look normal to me.
Well, no, that's the new normal. It's that blue. That's blue. So let's talk about Black Sex in the City. I think it is hilarious. You are funny as hell. My favorite episode so far is Post Nut Clarity.
Oh my gosh. So that is the Digital Tease one?
Oh my god. It was hilarious though, because that's a very real thing. And I've never had anybody put it in words. Post nut clarity. So in fact, I'm not even going to try to explain. Can you explain to the listeners what post nut clarity is?
So post-nut clarity is when, whether you're with someone and you're about to orgasm, or you're with yourself and you're going to orgasm, basically you have very, very intense mental clarity right after your ecstasy feeling of orgasm. And it can be a positive thing, like, wow, this is the love of my life. It can be something like that. Or you can realize some things just about your life. And, we all experience it, obviously, because we're human. So you get it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, some of the best examples are when you're probably watching porn and you go down this vortex of some really nasty shit. And then it gets worse and worse. And as soon as you're like, what am I watching? And
like, who have I become?
Right.
Who have I become?
Right. And you turn it off so quickly. You probably go into prayer mode, meditation.
Right. You look away from the screen and you're like, oh, this is real life.
Right. Or on the flip side of that shit, when you are like, I guess just mad horny, and then you're on the apps or whatever, and then all of a sudden your standards kind of drop. And
Oh
then
God.
occasionally you'll hook up with the wrong person. And then once
Oh,
again, after you nut, you be like, why are you here? Why am I here? Is this
don't
a dungeon?
touch me. Like, just, oh, yeah, we've all been there.
And this, it also saves you from making bad decisions. I'm an advocate for getting a nut before you go on a date, jack off, do something, so you're clear going into a first date, because you never want to end up messing around with the wrong person because you're horny and it's clouding up your judgment.
That's true. It's very true. There's no time to waste, especially here in New York City. I don't have a second to waste.
New York minute too fast, huh?
Right. So, you got to have clarity. Mental clarity is key.
Post-nut clarity. I love that. It just stood out to me. But also, I really enjoy your brand of comedy, because in a weird way, it's very, I won't say cynical, but you just have this kind of, I call it asshole-ish way of in the show where you're always getting people together. Like, you're always getting people together. And just moments ago, I was watching your clip of The Weakest Link when you're where you're just like, oh, I'm going to be nice. And then you totally just go off. And there's a lot of, I don't want to give away too much of the show because there's so many funny one-liners in there that I think I just love a lot of the quickness and the quick wit of it. There's certain things that just crack me up. But I also like that it seems like you don't take yourself too seriously. And it's really, really dope. Like, for one, like the one line where someone sent you a text message and they said, "I'll lick the vitiligo off of you." And I was just like, what? I remember just like losing my shit. Like, wow. And that was like, I thought it was, but I think it's dope though, because it's one of those things where, obviously people will notice that, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm going to ignore it, whatever. It is what it is. Where you were just like, I'm gonna put this right in the script. And I'm like, that is funny as fuck. But I love it. I love it though. And it was just like, who says that? Like, I literally fell off my couch. I was like, did you really put that in the message? But it was like on some sexy shit though. Like, oh shit, that's the type of shit I'm getting into. I was like, wow. What was your thought process with writing that?
It really just came to me in the moment. I was like, because I knew I was going to be wearing that crop top from that designer, and something just told me, work the vitiligo in, and instantly my head goes to Michael Jackson, although I've heard it was not vitiligo that he had. But that is a whole other conversation. But I know that a lot of people believe he had vitiligo because growing up, people, a lot of the times when they found out I had it, after realizing it wasn't a birthmark, would be like, oh, what Michael Jackson has? So I wanted to just throw that in there. And yeah, that it was
amazing. It was very smartly done, and I like it because what it was is you own something that people would normally try to use as a way like, oh, what's going on? You're like, no, let me go ahead and just say what you're probably thinking anyway.
Nope, I'm like, here the fuck I am, and here's the vitiligo, bitch.
Listen, you rock it, man. You rock it. I love it. Also, I love your selfie game is on point though. Like, your selfie game is pretty on point.
Oh, thank you. The trick is to not take any pictures while you don't have a haircut. Because while I don't have a haircut, I look trash. I just don't show social media. That's kind of, it gets really rough at times. It's all about the timing.
Come through timing. So speaking of timing, where did the inspiration for Black Sex and the City come from?
It was spontaneous. My friend and I had been discussing just kind of funny dating stories and stuff during our lunch dates. And then it got to a point where we were ready to, because I had just started YouTube, and we were like, oh, we should have a little talk show called Black Sex in the City. And so we had just kind of decided on that, and it was going to be fun. But me and a different person, because she didn't really end up wanting to do YouTube. So it was just conversational. And then I made an episode with somebody else. It was a talk show episode. And then the second episode was a script. And I hadn't really been planning on doing anything like that. But randomly in the shower, I just got inspiration for the bi episode. I was like, oh, it would be funny if somebody who was bi came out to their girlfriend and it went tragically, but also kind of well. Even though I'm not bi, for some reason, that script idea popped into my head. and I just did it. And then I didn't even have a camera at that point, just an iPhone. From there on, the audience loved it and demanded more. So now, 9 months later, we are in season 2 of Black Sex in the City.
That's awesome. So tell me something. So do you do everything yourself? Are you doing the writing, the filming, the editing, or do you have a team?
I do most things myself. One of the things on my team, there are people who help me camera operate, and I also do some of that. But yeah, I really do pretty much everything other than act in the roles that aren't me and the videography when I'm in the scene, since I can't do that.
Very nice. Very nice. That's good stuff. So how long does it take you to write these scripts?
The scripts don't take too long to write. For example, we started filming an episode this Saturday, and I didn't start writing that script until Wednesday. And luckily I finished it Friday night, the night before I had scheduled for us to film 4 scenes and then 3 scenes the next day. So the turnaround time is pretty quick once the script starts.
That's pretty amazing because, like I said, it's filled with funny one-liners. So it just shows how funny you actually are to be able to turn around things. There's so many one-liners where I'm like, God, and it's funny because the character you play is legit an asshole. And it's wow, he just takes no prisoners. So,
oh my God.
Tell me something. Okay, so how much of your character on the show is like you and how much is defer from you?
So there's definitely parts of me that are like Julian, and there's definitely parts of Julian that are kind of created or dramatized for the sake of just the screen and the character. Because in certain ways, the plot is so important that how Julian acts is dependent on the direction that I want things to go creatively. So there's times where I draw inspiration from my life in ways, but Julian is his own guy. Because especially the way that the first episode of the season starts, that is just nothing like me. Julian is hanging out with somebody and he's on his phone and he's not paying attention to them. I have a weird thing where when I'm around people, I can't really use my phone much because I have a big thing about engaging, but I wanted to play around and play a character who is just completely not shit. And but there's parts later in the season where I do there's little sprinkles of inspiration from my life, but Julian's quite fictional, but there's some elements of him, how he's dramatic. There are ways that I am dramatic, and I've learned them kind of through people commenting on them in the recent years of my life. So it almost got me kind of conscious of the humor that people perceive of me, even if I don't think it's that funny. I kind of know what people enjoy. So I've been able to sprinkle inspiration from just real life, but Julian's fictional.
Well, that's really, really good. Well, I think also what I like about the show is how you put in a lot of politics, especially among the gay community. There was this one episode where it was a hookup, and it was this guy who was super toxic. I think that the episode was called Toxic Masculinity, wasn't it? It was
top sick.
Yeah. And but I like that you pointed that out because in the community is very much people get these ideas in their head of how people are supposed to behave and, I don't do this and I don't do this. But, as soon as you turn on Bring It On or whatever, it's a whole different story. So it's why do we hold these things on? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there really are, because for me personally, just to be quite more open than I guess I've ever been publicly, so this is actually quite a moment.
Exclusive.
But I am fluid in terms of in a relationship, I operate best with guys who are you know what I'm saying, can play both sides. Yeah. I like to just not have a very gender role on me and the person in the relationship. I'm a man, he's a man. I like us just both to be able to enjoy, each other, we'll just say. And so I definitely had experience, more than one experience at a point where, then you meet up with somebody for the first time and you find out that is completely not the case. There was even one time I I'm so petty in real life at times that I hopped out of a moving car in Manhattan because I realized I didn't like somebody's view on this. So I literally hopped out the moving car and they're like, oh no, I'll drive you home. I was like, no, I'm going to take the train. So I definitely have had a passionately annoyed experience with that. So I was excited that people resonated with that episode so much because that one was definitely one that was very much so like me. But that was before Julian existed because that was season 1. But that was accurate.
Yeah, no, it was very good. I definitely resonate because I always talk about toxic masculinity on the show, and I always talk about the politics between gay men. It's like you said, we're both men. Not that gender has anything to do with it, but you can't expect one to behave a certain way or the other to behave another way. I just had a conversation with this guy the other day, and he was just all like, "Well, this is how tops think, and this is how bottoms think." I was like, "Sir, okay." Sexual positions are choices. We're both men. Just because you decide to do one thing and the other person decides to do another doesn't mean you have a tops mind. All you have is a heteronormative mind, and that's a problem because they don't even got
exactly.
And
that's why, that's
so
why
stupid.
I wanted to have the part where Julian snaps in the episode, and then the part where the complexity is obviously addressed later in the episode. There's just a lot that happens because then later in the episode, I might as well just give the spoiler. It's funny because then, of course, Julian's horny, so he calls the guy back, and the guy turns out that he's fine with having his ass grabbed right before the scene ends. So it's like it kind of addresses the fact that even the tops like the booty a little touch, but it's almost like they're rejecting a part of them that at least likes having a grab. Like, come on now.
Well, it's also presenting as well. A lot of people just want to present a certain way. And then also people sometimes perceive being a bottom as being weak. But what kills me about the top versus bottom conversation that continually happens, it ignores versatile people. Right. It's kind of like, so what do versatile people play?
Right. And that's why I definitely am, oh gosh, to be honest, ever since that episode, I've been trying to make something as iconic as it. And I think I've come close, but I don't know if I ever will. The name was clever. I was really happy with that episode.
It was very spot on. I think it's great. And it conveyed an important message, which goes to my next question. Do you feel a responsibility to input certain messages in your content?
I definitely do. I feel a responsibility to always kind of have a purpose for the humor and stuff like that, because I feel like for art to really reach people, they have to feel something. And I can have all the one-liners I want, but if there's not also something else there, then there's kind of a dynamic element missing. So I really feel that it's important in order to make the audience feel something positive. I really have to weave messages in powerful ways that are clever.
Yeah, that's really dope. And you can definitely see it, especially in that episode. It was just like, thank you for covering this. But also, even in your regular social media, I like that you're very passionate about certain views. And we have a lot of views in common. I was noticing how you were talking about the whole thing about comedians telling poor jokes and then just trying to push it off as just comedy. And it's like, there's some things that are funny, but you can't belittle certain groups of people who are normally oppressed and being like killed.
It's unacceptable.
Right. It's unacceptable.
It's unacceptable behavior. It is. And the thing is that like even writing as a comedy writer for a show, it's like, I'm conscious of the fact that, yes, it's possible for like at times, you to overlook something, but I think that there's certain things that are just too far. Like there should never be a point where there is homophobia that you slip into. If anything, like that's just going absolutely too far to me. That's not a little mistake. That is a deep-rooted view of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's unacceptable to me.
Right. And it's also, I'm so sick of people using the word sensitive because they only use it when it doesn't apply to them. And it's like, how convenient.
I especially don't like that.
Oh, you're a Cancer. Awesome. Water sign. I'm a Pisces.
So all that shit, they want to say sensitive, crybaby Cancer. No, I really have a belief that all humans no matter how people want to word it and how people react to their sensitivity, everyone is sensitive in general. We're humans. We're not brick walls. So it's important to just learn how to respect just humans. That's really what it comes down to. And that's what Kevin Hart failed to do, to respect a group of humans.
Yeah, but there's also a difference too. And I think because there's a lot of gay men who are defending Kevin Hart just because he's black or just because he makes them laugh. And I'm like, there's a difference between telling a joke. I understand the viewpoint of like, as long as you're making fun of everybody, but the difference between making fun of someone, and then also saying they don't have any value as people. And Kevin Hart didn't tell a gay joke. He said that if his son played with a Barbie playhouse, he would hit it over his head and tell him it was gay. That's not a joke. That's actually violence against someone that you think is not presenting a certain way. How is that funny to you?
And that's perpetuating a culture of gay children being killed.
Yep, exactly.
I don't care if my dad told the joke. I would cuss him out for it. It doesn't matter who it is. Anybody who needs to be told that that's unacceptable would have to be told. Like, that's not...
Yeah. And people defend that. I'm like, that's not a joke. But it's the same with like the City Girls in Young Miami. There's still people defending her saying, well, some people just view that way. Fine. But I'm not going to support them.
They definitely are.
I'm not going to support them, though. I'm not going to ignore that.
I'm not. I undownloaded Millionaire Dick off my phone. Do you know how much strength it took? Oh.
Same. It was tough.
That one hurt. That was the only one that hurt me. And I have not re-downloaded it because, but then you think about the people who, I won't even get into that.
But it's also double downing on it. And it's also the argument of being black and queer. And it's like, we're expected to choose blackness first before queerness. And I'm like, I'm not choosing either first. It's about being right or wrong. If you are denying a part of me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so no, fuck that. So yeah, but I definitely share the same views as you. I've been watching like on like what you've been saying and stuff. I'm like, yep, I agree with him because I've been pretty much quiet on like the City Girl stuff and the Kevin Hart stuff and pretty much all of it because it's like it feels pointless.
To be honest, I have been more quiet at a point until something happened recently where someone I knew tweeted something that made me go off. So that's probably, that might have been when you saw some tweet. I'm trying to remember what I said that you saw.
Well, you were saying if you believe that this is just being sensitive, then unfollow me. Yeah, and I was just like, he's right. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, it's wild.
I was like, no, this is unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. I'm tired of being... I don't like people who try to make people. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I hate how we kind of baby these people who are otherwise intelligent and make it seem like it's just an oversight. They know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Like, you're a millionaire. You're a businessman. You know what's appropriate, what's not. Right. And it's just, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And to double down on it. And then I'm just over it. It just is what it is. I don't hate him. I don't dislike him, but I don't think he doesn't need an excuse. And too many of us are excusing his behavior for the sake of comedy, and that's trash.
Mm-hmm. It is. We got to take a stand. The key is that a stand has to be taken just like black straight people who may disagree with us, just like they be talking about how it's so important to take a stand regarding the government and black rights and all of that. Well, sometimes us black LGBTQ advocates have to take a stand against other black people who don't agree, even when it doesn't seem like it makes sense to them. Sometimes we have to take those stands. Yeah. And this is one of them. It might not be that he did the worst thing in the world, but what are white people saying? The same thing.
And then there's one final point that I'm going to make before we move on from this is that people keep using this argument that people are so sensitive now. And I'm like, listen, gay people, or I say queer people, women, children, a lot of times we didn't have a voice in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. We now have a voice. We're not more sensitive now. The sensitivity or whatever you want to call it has always been there. We're just now pushing back and saying we're not taking this shit anymore. Just because Eddie Murphy made terrible fucking jokes in the 80s about gay people don't mean we have to accept it now and stop saying it's a difference now. It's just, no, we have a voice and we're pushing back.
People being gay as hell, now we just get to say something.
Right, exactly. definitely. So enough of that. We'll get back to a lighter conversation. I think.
Yeah. Oh, we did kind of go in. Oh Lord.
Yeah, it's cool though. It's cool. That's what this show is for. That's what this show is for. This is me putting important messages in my content.
Yes.
So, question: where do you see Philaye Films going in the future?
Oh goodness. I see it just rising, just growing, just getting more funding, getting more just experience. I see there being more shows, more movies, more shows and movies. I just don't see me ever stopping because I really have a passion for creating, and every second, anytime anything happens, like I have so many ideas that I don't see me ever stopping. So
that's amazing. That means you're passionate about it.
Yes, I'm very passionate. And then I'm also almost like, in some ways, I have a lot of just like anxious energy that it's great to like, you know how they say it's good to put your crazy towards something productive?
Yes.
Well, this is my place to put it. And it's great.
That's what's up. Do you have, so when it comes to future stuff, do you have any dream collaborations or a cast that you would love to work with?
Oh, well, I mean, of course it would be amazing to ever act with the hilarious Issa Rae. Like, just
yes.
Her personality and her humor is just, of course, we all fantasize about acting with Issa. And, I mean, that would definitely be the biggest one. Other than that, I mean, anyone I get to work with and create with is a blessing, really. So, I mean, I wouldn't even say that I put anyone on a pedestal over anyone else. It's really more so for me, it's just like what we're creating, like maybe the dream genres and stuff like that. Because I'm happy to work with whoever I get to work with, for sure.
That's real, man. That's real. So outside of filmmaking, do you have any other hobbies that you put stuff into?
Well, I ran track like all of my life till during college. So I love running. Running and working out is very fun for me. I love to travel, and just nature and traveling are definitely kind of my favorite hobbies, which can suck living in New York City in the winter, but that is neither here nor there.
Are you from New York City?
No, I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I moved here a year and a half ago. But yeah, running, traveling, nature, smoking weed.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, let me just throw this one in, but let me think. Do I do anything else? Maybe one other thing. Like, no, there's other one. I just can't think of them right now.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Running. That's another chance for me to plug the fact I'm actually preparing for a marathon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
20, is it 26.2 miles?
Yes, it is.
Oh goodness. That is so nice.
I got the map today. They sent the map in the email. I guess they're supposed to be getting you excited. I said, oh my God, what am I doing? And I'm just like, so I'm running across all of Atlanta? Okay, cool.
Oh my goodness.
It's wild. But I'm preparing for it. And the mileage is getting real now. I'm in week 5 of training. And so basically you run short runs during the week and then you do a long run on the weekend.
Oh.
And the runs are now in the double digits. And I'm just like, oh shit. And it's getting higher and higher, but I'm still committed. My body is just like, okay. I mean, you probably should have did this 10 years ago, but hey, it is what it is. But it's definitely something that's causing life to be very interesting, to say the least.
That's good. Change is good.
It is.
It keeps things interesting.
Yeah, hopefully. I just want to keep my knees, though. I just want to keep my knees. That's all. Like,
yeah. No, my knee. I had a knee injury this year. I'm still nursing it back to health. So,
no.
I was supposed to be running semi-pro track right now, but right the week before I was gonna start, I got injured. So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's okay. I wouldn't have had time with film anyway. So
see how life works. That needed to happen so you can put everything into Philaye Films.
Exactly. This is what God wanted, because track used to be the version of a performer I was, but now I'm performing in a new way, so it's fine.
All right. Well, that transitions well into a brief conversation. So, as a creative, you are, I am. Something that I think we definitely deal with are comment sections and also criticism. So I just kind of want to have a conversation about this. So the people who are listening, who are probably creatives themselves, are looking to get into more creative things that they want to put out into the world, maybe get some encouragement or some explanations. So I just want to have a talk about just criticism in general and dealing with it and how you deal with it, how I deal with it, and just go from there. So first and foremost,
I love this because this is some real shit.
It's real shit because people will definitely let you know how they feel about some shit.
No, really.
So let's start with you. Can you think of a time where you were given a comment or a criticism that was just all negative, not constructive, but just negative, and tell us about it?
Oh, not constructive, just negative.
Just a comment, like it's legit a comment.
Dang, because a lot of the thing is that pretty much all the time when comments are posted online, they've all been positive, I feel. So I'm like, I've gotten those DMs or something. Oh my God, I remember this. So I got a DM a week ago, and this is like a week after the new episode, the CyberCloud episode came out. And this guy who, like, he's a fan, he frequently DMs me about the show, and he loves the show. He's like a fan, blah, blah, blah. He DM'd me like a week and a half after it dropped, and he's like, this episode was quite boring, babe. That was what. That was what. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Like, what am I supposed to
do? So for me, part of me was, I'm at the stage right now of being an artist where I know myself and my art so well that it's like, I go hard for my art. So I literally responded to him, I'm going to have to disagree with you there, but thank you for watching.
That's a great way of answering.
I was like, this episode was quite lit because period.
That was a mature way of answering because you could easily say, who the fuck asked you? You could have easily said that.
Oh, no, see, and I never really, that's just not ever how I operate, you know. I like to operate like Beyonce said in the Beyonce Bible that you're supposed to always stay gracious because the best revenge is your paper. And so that's just the way that I like to operate with creative entrepreneurship. There's no reason to ever get out of character because that will never help you out. Just look at Carrie Hilson. She shaded Beyonce and the Hive ruined her life. Basically, that is not energy I need to invite into my life. I got to be nice to people so that karma can do its thing.
Yep. It's called, and they also say don't feed the trolls because it never works. When people say negative things to you, saying something negative back never goes well. They're just going to keep going
go
back and back and back.
Because the key, that's doing too much.
Yeah, but that's actually a great response. I get stuff all the time. I started off on YouTube, and that's where I got the most comments. As far as podcast is mostly positive. I don't get a lot of negative stuff. I've gotten constructive criticism, which I'll share later, but nothing negative on the podcast. But with video, oh my God, it was just everything. As soon as they find out you're gay, then everything becomes, oh, it's because you're gay, or it's because this, it's because that. I did this one video on I think going to the club after 30 or some shit, and it was really popular. And then some young kid was just all like, if you go to a club after you're 30, you're fucking stupid and lame, and just like the guy in this video, and blah blah blah. And I was just like, my God, like people were just like ruthless as hell online. I was just all like in the same situation, like, well, thanks for watching, just like one of those things where you just kill them with kindness or don't say
right. That's really all there is to do, because negative energy, it's not going to do anything. It's not. And even the guy who did reach out and save it, it wasn't even necessarily negative energy. It was more so his honest opinion, because he liked the show and liked the episode. So it was definitely threw me off because I hadn't really received any negativity regarding the episode yet. So I was like, oh my God, well.
Well, especially if it's unsolicited. It's one thing to leave a
right,
negative
I'm like,
comment.
damn, nigga.
Right. It's one thing to leave a negative comment, but to send a personal message.
He sent a
saying it.
personal message.
Yeah, it was a little more personal.
I was like, ooh, okay. I might stop opening your DMs.
Right, because you never know what you're gonna get. You know,
right?
you never know.
Like, are you out of your mind?
Okay.
Oh gosh.
So what's the time where you gotten constructive criticism?
Oh, I mean, all the time.
Well, that's good, I guess.
Yeah, no, like that's why I've had to get so used to criticism, because I mean, it's just constant. There was even one of the biggest times was one that I seeked criticism, because I don't know what I was going through, but because every episode, basically, I try to make better than the last. So I asked my mom, what do you think? This was season 2, episode 1. Because when season 2 started off, it wasn't even going to be season 2. It was just, there weren't seasons. They were just all episodes. The reason there became a season 2 was my mom. Because when I asked her what she thought could be better, she told me that getting to know characters and getting to know why they are the way they are and seeing character development could make it more dynamic. And then I realized I needed to challenge myself in that way. So then I decided I didn't want sporadic episodes anymore. I wanted a connected storyline. And that criticism definitely made me uncomfortable in the moment, though, because it was kind of like, oh, shit. Well, now I'm looking at all the stuff I have on the channel, and I'm like, well, damn, this isn't dynamic at all. And that really is how criticism goes a lot of the time with being a creative. You agree with what they say after you hear it a lot of the time, but then part of you feels insecure because you're like, well, fuck, I haven't done this yet. So everything that everyone is seeing in the moment is trash. And to be honest, that's almost sometimes what kept me so consistent with the show, because I was always so focused on perfecting the craft that I always was looking at it like, no, I know I want to get this somewhere better. I know where this can be, and it's not there. And now I've actually gotten it where I was picturing, which is crazy, because for months I was trying to figure out what I was going to do to get it to where I have it now. So I'm definitely happy with taking the constructive criticism and pushing through the discomfort of seeing imperfections in the work.
Well, but it's also a journey, for sure. We all start off some way, and then the show grows from there. Like when I first started this podcast, I can't even listen to some of my old episodes because I have a fear of how crazy they sound.
Oh
but
my God, I can relate.
Yeah, one thing I got was someone left a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts now. And they were saying like, oh, it's a great show, but he really needs to get an engineer because it sounds all over the place. It's like, but they were like, oh, because he'll start off in the beginning, but then the theme music will come on and it'll be really, really loud. And I was just like, that's a great point. So I legit, the next show, after reading that review, I did some research on how to level everything so I wasn't blowing out my users' ears, but it was constructive. They weren't saying, oh, he's trash. They were just like, no, the sound could be better. And at first, like anytime you get any critique, like you say, you're kind of like, oh my God, so all these other shows have crazy sound.
It's literally like a panic moment. Like you think back to all your content, and you're like just imagining all the flaws.
But at the same time, no one's asking you to go back. You just, and I actually read the review and said, I thanked them, said, thank you for leaving this review. I have taken this in consideration and I'll fix them now on. And now, from now on, I look at every show and I'm like, okay, make sure this is leveled. I've had other people, and you also have to have your tribe too. There's a difference from having people that you trust to give you criticism, like your tribe of people who won't be yes men to you, who will tell you the truth and they know how to present it to you, versus unsolicited opinions. I think the unsolicited opinions hurt the most because they don't know you. They don't know how you operate. They don't know what you did to put it together. So it just feels like an attack, versus people in your camp who will tell you the truth, but they also know how hard you work on it.
I feel like both are equally hard almost, though, because the biggest thing for me is having to think back on the content that's out and be like, dang, this had the realize, just that process either way for me can at times just be like, damn, I wish I would have known this shit.
Well, I mean, but it comes with being an artist. I mean, I feel like our work becomes our children. It's like, this is my baby. And it's like, when you attack my baby, I want to attack you first, until you realize like, oh, you're just trying to make me better. Like, a lot of people are just trying to make you better. They're not trying to hate. They're just trying to make you better.
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely don't think that anyone who actually contact me about the show. I haven't really experienced any time that I felt like somebody was just like super trying to. I feel like anyone who is hating on it is just not saying anything to me. I think the haters are more silent almost. Because I definitely know that there's people who don't like it, because that's art. But I think that they're more silent in my case. I feel like in the future, I might end up then getting to some point where then there's like the negativity that's rolling around. But I haven't really reached it fully yet. The haters are silent. I'm like, y'all might as well speak up. So just like, no.
No, y'all can stay quiet. Don't speak up over here. Y'all can stay quiet. For sure. But it comes with the territory. I tell people that you have to understand that anytime you're on a platform or create your own platform, there's always going to be people who aren't doing it, who are going to be behind their keyboards or wherever way to try to bring you down or try to give their opinion, because like you said, it's art, and art is also subjective. Everyone sees things differently. So something that somebody else
even
praises,
Beyonce, people don't like,
which is weird. But yes, I
know,
there's people who
like,
think she can't sing. There's people who think she's overrated, and I'm like, what? Like, I
think that their eyeballs and ears just don't work fully. I think that we aren't all blessed with full sensory ability.
But there's people who, like I'm saying, and you're just like, what? Okay, whatever. but that goes to show you as a creative that you're not going to be for everyone, but you will be for someone.
Exactly. Right. And the most important one to be for is yourself, because at the end of the day, you just can't let the public's wavering, whatever, because like their public's opinion can change at any second. You have to make sure that your opinion, you have to just be able to separate yourself from, you know, the work in some ways too, you know, just let yourself be a human. And just, it's important to develop a tough skin or a thick skin, so you're not just distraught by any negativity, for sure.
Right. And also, once again, know your audience and your tribe, because here's the thing. We see it with celebrities all the time. While you may have people who criticize you and not care for your work, you also have people who love everything you do. So appreciate your tribe. Appreciate your people.
I'm a huge believer in focusing on the positivity. Like, that's really all that you can do at a certain point. Like, it's about where you're putting your energy, and you got to put your energy into the people that are putting energy into you that's positive. And that's really all that matters, because it's not like you even have time to, you know, cater to all 6 billion people on the earth. So just do what you can with who you can and have a good time.
Yes, I like that a lot. And also, there's actually, and I've come to find this out, there are a lot of people out there who are creatives and who are writers, who are actors, or whoever. They have some kind of creative bone in their body, and they're actually not doing anything because they actually fear criticism. Do you have any advice for those people?
Oh, gosh. My advice for those people is just to start. That's really all it is, because the fear is not going to go away. It's not even going to go away, even if you're 5 years in. I think that that's human nature. And I think that what's important to remember is that we are built, you're built to do whatever your purpose was. We're built to be able to withstand things like that. If women can get through childbirth, you can get through, you know, the criticism. You will develop a thicker skin. I think, it's just about trusting yourself and trusting this life to always strengthen you for whatever, to just endure whatever fears you do have, because we all have them. So.
Yep. And also start now with whatever you have. Don't wait until you have the right equipment or the right this. All you need is just to start with whatever you have. Like, I like that you talked about when you started Black Sex in the City, you just had your iPhone and you said, let's just do this and let's just move forward. Yeah. And then you got things as you went. That's how anyone out there, if you want to start a blog, start writing that shit now. Tumblr remove porn. That means you can just do writing on there now. Yeah,
exactly. Creative. Hey, I think I might start marketing on Tumblr.
Right, you got space
now that it's more than sex.
But start your blog now. If you want to do a podcast, go get a mic today. Don't worry about things being perfect before starting, because you're missing out on valuable time. Because they won't
be perfect either way. When you ever, literally ever. I've watched things on YouTube that are like Beyonce's Formation World Tour malfunctions or like little mistakes that happen, whether it was wardrobe, set, lighting, design, choreography forgotten. Even Beyonce is having obstacles every step of the way and imperfections. It even happens to her. So it's going to happen to you and me, all of us.
But also the fact that somebody has put together a compilation of all her mistakes also goes into the people who are haters out there. Let me find all of her mistakes and put it in a compilation.
Like, do you know how busy I am? I would never be able to even, I don't even understand how they found all of this footage. That's a good question, actually. Huh.
That's their job.
Maybe hashtag
professional hater.
Oh. Wow. Could never be me. Ooh. So no.
Yeah, no, that's wild. But no, I think that's good. So yeah, if you have something that you want to do that you're passionate about, do it. Don't wait for things to be perfect. Don't wait for the right things. You have what you need, and that's yourself. Get started. You don't need a team. Get started, because guess what? I believe in manifestation. And if you start something, the universe will meet you the rest of the way, and you will get everything you need to make it like everything that you want it to be. So that is that. But I think that is a good closing point. Can you tell the people where they can find you, Philip?
Oh, yes. People, you can find me on Instagram at Philaye, Philaye. On Twitter at Philaye Films, so the same spelling and then films. YouTube at Philaye Films, so Philaye space films. Or you can type Black Sex in the City in, or philayefilms.com, or Facebook Philaye Films. So, I'm just all around. Find me.
Good branding.
Yeah,
yes.
Find me. Message me. I respond to all fans. I respond to everyone. I really, I engage. So reach out to me.
Very important. And all of that will be in the show notes, so you guys can go ahead and just click. So you got to get your pen and paper out. I'll have clickable links so you guys can go find Philip online and also check out his amazing web series. It is hilarious. And also make sure you guys are sharing this episode with your friends, leaving comments, putting reviews on Apple Podcasts, rating it five stars, and also follow me on all of the platforms in the show notes. And that will be it. I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you, Philip, for being on the show this week.
Thank you for having me. This was great. These were great conversations.
It was really, really awesome. And I wish you the best. All right, everyone. Enjoy your week. And I'll talk to you next week. Peace out.